Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is going to be a very straightforward guide to finish the Easter egg and get the Seeds of Doubt trophy in Zetsubou No Shima. Before we start, I want to quickly make clear that a lot of the steps for this Easter egg require you to build things. So you're building the shield, or the KT4, or upgrading the KT4, and I have guides for all of those things on my channel. So to avoid overcomplicating this guide and making it any more confusing than it already is, each time we get to a thing that needs to be built, I'll direct you to the description, and that is where you'll find the specific guides which really clearly explain exactly how you build or upgrade or do whatever you need to do. Also down there in the description will be some handy tips for those of you that might get stuck. So if you do have a problem with the guide, look in the description and 9 times out of 10 I'll have a solution down there for you to use. First things first, before you actually begin your game, you're going to want to equip the Anywhere But Here Gobblegum. Then you can begin your game, assuming you've equipped it, and I recommend that straight away you focus on getting your skulls finished. So the skull rituals, there's a link in the description. You can get those cleared up and get the Skull of Nan Sapwe reasonably early if you're working on them from an early round. Alongside that, you can obviously be doing other things on the map, like for example, building the KT4. You can open the Pack-a-Punch if you like. You're going to want to definitely build the shield, and I highly recommend the gas mask as well. And you'll also want to get to work upgrading the KT4. Now, that is something that you won't necessarily do in your first 5 rounds or anything, but it's something to bear in mind as you play. Another thing to bear in mind while you play is your trials. So that's around the skull altar. Each player has 3 trials, and you're going to need each player in your game to complete all 3 of their trials if you want to make progress with the Easter egg. So a quick checklist in that case: there's the Skull of Nan Sapwe, which is really important. You've got to get that, and you should get it earlier rather than later, in my opinion. Then there's the KT4, and then the upgraded KT4, the Masamune. You 100% need to build the shield, because we're going to use that in a moment. And you'll also need to complete your trials, and that goes for everyone in your game completing all 3 of their own trials. You don't need to necessarily pick up the rewards, but do the trials. Then obviously there's the pap and the mask as well. If you don't know how to do any of these, go to the description. Like I said, the guide is there. Once you've got the Skull of Nan Sapwe, you need to come to this area of the map. It's the body bag room, specifically this purple sort of glowing corner, and you're going to want to pull the skull out and use left trigger to mesmerize the wall in front of you, specifically the poster on the wall. It's going to reveal a certain section of poster that previously was not visible. Then, as soon as that's happened, you can run back up towards the Pack-a-Punch and go towards the entrance to the bunker room. If you mesmerize this wall, again, using L2, you should reveal a secret room with a load of machinery in there. And it's the machinery that is broken, and we're going to fix by finding 3 cogs. The reason I recommended getting the skull fairly early is because once you mesmerize that wall and you get into the secret room, a plane will start flying overhead across the map. And you are going to eventually shoot this plane down, but to do that, you need to get an artillery shell. To get the shell, you need to do a specific thing with the plants, and that takes a little bit of time, which is why I recommended you try and get it started nice and early. When you plant a seed and then water it with blue water 3 times in a row, you'll find that you'll get a drop from the resulting plant. You'll be able to harvest it and get, for example, a max ammo, maybe a money drop, something like that. To get the shell, it's a little different. So plant a seed, get some blue water it, and then you're going to want to shoot the planted seed with a KT4. It doesn't have to be upgraded, it can be a regular KT4, but shoot the plant itself that has been planted and has just been watered, and then the next round you can obviously water it again, which is required. I recommend you shoot it again with the KT4, then the round after, water it for the final time, and again, if you can, shoot it with the KT4. You can get away with not shooting it every single time, but it's just a safer bet, so I recommend that is what you do. Each time you water it, also shoot it with the KT4, and then afterwards, when you harvest the plant, it should be glowing white, and inside, you'll find your artillery shell. I also think it's a very good idea to have multiple seeds running at once, just in case one of them doesn't work, or even 2 or 3 of them don't work, so work with your team to plant a series of seeds across the map, water them with blue water each and every time you can do, each and every round, and also shoot them with the KT4, and doing that, you should get your shell just fine. Come over to the anti-air gun, which you can get to from the bunker, and load the shell into the gun at the back. So stand at the back of it, hold square, and you should hear a click. You won't see anything when you put it in, you'll only hear a click. That's how you know you've successfully loaded the gun. Then you've got to wait for the plane to fly overhead. It should happen every sort of 90 seconds or so, I would say, maybe 2 minutes. And once it's overhead, wait for the plane to be directly in line with the anti-air gun barrel itself, okay? So don't do it straight away when the plane spawns. Don't wait for the plane to fly over your head, because then you're obviously not going to have any luck with this, but wait for the gun itself to be pointing at the plane, and then you're going to want to hold square on the back of the anti-air gun again, and if you can't get it, by the way, just sort of scoot around it a little bit and hold square down, and the gun should fire, it'll hit the plane, and then kablamo, you'll be able to do the next little thing to get the cog. First of all, though, I want to say, if you somehow mess this up, I believe you need to grow another plant to get another shell using the previously described method. Assuming this works and you hit the plane, in the sky you should see something plummeting down into the map. It'll have this big smoke trail, and that is going to indicate where the cog is going to spawn. So essentially it'll be either the sort of blue water area around there, or it'll be around the green water area. I think they're the two most common ones for sure, but follow the smoke trail and that'll give you the best idea of whereabouts it's going to be. Then you're going to want to look around in the blue or green water area, respectively, depending on your particular game, and on the floor, somewhere there, you should see a steaming cog, which you can pick up. At the beginning of the guide, I said you need a anywhere but here gobblegum, and that's going to be used for this next cog. By the way, you can do these in any order, but just in this guide, this is how I'm presenting things. If you haven't already, you're going to want to shoot these glowing webs with the KT4, go down to this area, and you'll fight the spider. You can kill the spider just by shooting its mouth. I have a guide for that as well, link in the description. And then once it's dead, you can use the anywhere but here gobblegum just from that very area to teleport to a secret room. If you use it, you should go there pretty much every time. And if you fail, just go back to that area and try again. You can always get in there. It's very easy to get to. So go to that area, use the anywhere but here gobblegum, go to the secret room, and in the secret room, there's a cog on the floor. If you've got this far, congratulations, you're making really good progress. Now then, like I said at the beginning, you need to build the shield, right? And you'll need that not only for the upgraded KT4, but also for this next step. Shield building guide and upgrading KT4 guide, both in the description. Anyhow, assuming you've built your shield and you've completed your trials as well, that's very important. You've got 3 trials per player, like I've said. Everyone in-game needs to complete all of their trials, and then periodically, lightning is going to strike the skull altar area. So if you get your shield and you walk over there, what will happen is it will electrocute your shield. It can be on your back, as long as you then pull your shield out and have a look to see, just sort of seconds after the lightning has struck, you should get lightning on the shield itself, and you'll then be able to use this for the next step. Come to this zipline in Lab A with your electrocuted shield. What I recommend you do is zap the box, that is the box that you use to pay for the zipline itself, zap it by meleeing it with the electrocuted shield, and you should see some sparks flying and electricity passing over the box itself. Then you can use the zipline, and just when you're over the pier here, the little bridge that you can see below you, the wooden platform, you're going to want to spam all the buttons on your controller that you can. So press X, press circle, press the triggers, click in the analog sticks, do all of that, and you should drop off the zipline, and you'll be able to pick up the cog that is on that little bit of wood. There's another option too if you have another player in your game. What you can do is use the zipline just normally, and then when you're over that wooden platform, you can have your teammate shock the control box on the other side with an electrocuted shield, and this will make you fall off the zipline, and you'll be able to grab the cog. Now, the risk with this is that if you take the zipline, and then they zap the control box with their electrocuted shield, if they do it too early, you're going to fall off into the water, and you'll die. you'll be dead. You'll lose all your guns, and it's really quite annoying. So it's risky. You can do it. It's the way I did it in my game. I said to my teammate as soon as I was over the wooden platform, and then he zapped the control box on the other side, and it dropped me off, and I got the part itself. So it's definitely possible, but it's worth assessing the risks. At this point, well, you've got 3 cogs, so if you go into the room that you previously mesmerized to open up in the bunker, you should be able to apply your cogs, and then the elevator is going to become usable. This is really, really exciting stuff now, because you are ready to descend into the boss's lair and complete the Easter egg. But I do have some tips to make sure that you don't mess this up, okay? You don't want to go down there and die and have to do all of this again, because it's a bit of a palaver. So, I recommend A, make sure you get Gobblegum before you go down, so Aftertaste, Phoenix Up, Perkaholic, use them all, get them all running so that you are ready to fight. Also, make sure you've upgraded your KT4, because when you go down the elevator, and yes, you can come back up, but when you go down, there'll be some vines in the way, and you have to shoot the glowing part of the vines with the upgraded KT4 in order to get through. That's why you need the actual thing upgraded in the first place. Make sure you've got your skull, make sure you've got a fresh shield, make sure you've got a gas mask. Essentially, get yourself set up for a battle, because to be honest, the boss fight isn't that difficult, but you don't want to take the risk of going in for the first time and getting wrecked. So go down there, and without further ado, let's begin the battle itself. Oh, and PS, multiple people can get the KT4 because you can build it and then get it out of the box, so I recommend everyone has a KT4. It will make your life easier because when you're fighting the boss itself, you need to use the KT4 to shoot the glowing parts of its arms. The idea is that there's this monster, this tree monster thing, and you need to shoot its glowing parts of its arms, right? Just like the vines that you previously shot in order to get into this area. But the glowing parts of the vines aren't always there. They only glow every couple of minutes, and it's essentially each stage of the fight. Meanwhile, there'll be loads of thrashers, loads of spiders, and maybe a few zombies too. You don't actually have to kill any of the spiders and the thrashers, etc. You don't have to. It's just a time-based thing as far as I am aware. You shoot the glowing part of this boss monster's arm, then it will sort of start attacking, it'll slam its arms down, things like that. And then a little later, another vine will have a glowing bit on it, which you can shoot. It has to be with the KT4, like I've said, and you'll work your way through until all of the arms are taken out, and then kablamo, you've finished the Zetsubou No Shima Easter egg. You'll get the cutscene, you'll get the achievement, you'll get it all, and, well, I mean, congratulations, you've finished it all up. Hopefully this has been a really useful guide. I recognize the fact that it's a bit frustrating having me saying, oh yeah, check out all my other extra guides on this, because yeah, there's a shield guide and a KT4 guide, but honestly, I truly believe it is the simplest way and the clearest way for you to understand what you need to do in this Easter egg and get it done without hassle. So thank you so much for watching. I've tried to make this as clear as possible. Remember, in the description, extra tips in case you get stuck, extra guides in case you need a refresher on things like opening the pap or stuff like that. I've been MrRoflWaffles. Please smash the like button if you did enjoy this, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.